So this is probably going to be a shorter show because we've already done an hour and 15-minute show. But we just got finished watching the PlayStation showcase. So I just wanted to go around a little and see what stuck out to anybody before we get to some news. But there will be some news happening as we talk about this. Tim, was there anything that stuck out to you that you were like, "Ooh, yeah, baby, yeah"?
Yeah, so to be honest, I was hoping that there would be like, and maybe this is just wishful thinking because I always think this, maybe there's like just a little new IP Naughty Dog peak of something because it's been a little bit. And now that they're coming off the success of the Last of Us series, I'm like, give us something. Didn't get anything. That's okay. I wasn't necessarily expecting it, but I would have probably freaked if I saw something. Kind of just like for me, like nothing too crazy. The last 10 minutes of the Spider-Man 2 gameplay was fantastic, though. I had a smile on my face the whole time. Insomniac just knows how to make games, man. They're just fun, and there's all these different angles and different. It's just so cool to see, and obviously we all love the swing dynamics of everything, and it'll be interesting to see all the new characters coming in and new villains and. So I am 1,000% excited for that game. That is for sure. But other than that, nothing was really too crazy. Nothing really hit too hard for me.
I'll tell you what, and I said this during the stream, something about, and if you didn't watch it, go check it out. Something about Peter being in the symbiote the whole time put me on edge. Only because if you follow the lore kind of, or even if you watch the movies, he's always like bad Peter, kind of. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't care as much.
Like
he's
cranky
not like
Peter.
that.
Is he cranky Peter, or is he like bad? Like he'll kill people now?
No, it's just like.
But he's
but he's more ruthless and doesn't. I mean, he's just a little bit more doesn't care and thinks
he's on edge.
Yeah, and so like that, like not worried me, but it stressed me out because I was like, dang it, there's gonna come a time where him and Miles are going head to head and you're probably gonna have to fight the other Spider-Man or do something to get that symbiote off him with some kind of sound wave or something like that, and then will Venom be introduced? Is that kind of what's gonna happen, where you're kind of symbiote Spider-Man early and then Venom kind of gets released and then you both have to fight Venom? Because they really didn't, at least for what I watched, and I didn't deep dive, but it didn't seem like I ever saw symbiote Spider-Man before today's PlayStation showcase. Do you guys remember seeing? I remember seeing Venom. They teased Venom when they was like, give us a challenge or whatever he says, and he's back in that alley, and they're kind of both looking at him. But you would think that would come after.
Yeah.
What would come after?
So
you would think Venom would come after the symbiote being on
Yes.
Spider-Man.
And that's not in the comics. Is that how it worked?
I have no idea.
He
it always went on Spider-Man first?
It came to Spider-Man first. He's the one who, I don't remember if he finds the symbiote somehow or another. They get connected, and then he realizes the symbiote changes me into something I don't want to be, and then it ultimately ends up getting rid of it, and then it morphs with Eddie Brock, who already has an issue with him, and those two are like a beautiful pairing because they both now have an issue with either Peter Parker or Spider-Man.
Right.
That's my memory. Anyways.
And and obviously in the lore, Miles Morales is nowhere to be found yet in the story. But I think it's cool that they're mixing it up. Obviously Miles was only made a couple years ago. Well, I don't know if it was a couple. A couple would be probably selling too short. But back when they were telling the story of Venom and Spider-Man, Miles Morales was nowhere to be found. But it was just really great to hear their voices. It's really great to hear the nuance that Yuri put on his voice, the guy who plays Peter.
Yes.
That just felt a little on edge. Everything was said with a little bit more anger than it was said with that quippiness that we're used to Peter Parker having. Ed, what do you think? Symbiote Spider-Man, does that stress you out at all? Or were you like, whatever?
Not really, as long as he doesn't walk down the streets of New York dancing. I think I'll be fine.
They've got to throw that in there, right? Doing that little dance that Tobey Maguire came so famous for.
That's awesome.
But no, I think it'll be interesting to see. I don't know a ton of how it all works as far as Venom and symbiote Spider and all of that, so I'm curious just to play the game and learn what's happening.
We got a big look at what's the name? Lizard. Dr.
Yeah.
Connors. He looks like trouble, and it looks like Craven the Hunter is hunting
Is that who he
the
is?
lizard.
Do we have that confirmed?
It's got to be Craven the Hunter, right? I don't know who else looks like
You know
that.
what? I got to tell you, he looks like the Marvel Snap card. He looked like the Craven card in Marvel
Yeah,
Snap.
he did.
I'll tell you what, playing Marvel Snap helped me immensely when I saw Guardians
Yes.
3. I was like,
yes,
oh,
me
that's
too.
Cosmo. Oh, that's such
Yeah,
and
me
such.
too.
Oh,
Is
that's
Is that
such and
right?
such.
That's funny.
Absolutely.
Me
Spoilers.
too.
Oh, really?
I mean,
Sorry.
I haven't seen Guardians. So.
Oh, sorry.
But I mean, I don't
Cosmo's
care.
in it.
I'm just saying it always gets thrown at me. I feel like I'm always saying something. I'm like,
Right,
dang it,
exactly.
I spoiled something.
Ed,
Yes.
what stuck out? Golly.
Here we go.
What stuck out to you?
You know, I ran downstairs to take a quick restroom break after it was done before we started recording the podcast, and Sarah asked how it was, and kind of just like Tim said, I was like, yeah, it was all right, but we already knew Spider-Man was coming out, and that's still the thing I'm most excited for is Spider-Man. Looked great. It reminded me of the first time we saw gameplay of the original Spider-Man, and you're chasing that helicopter and all that. And the first time I watched that trailer, I remember thinking, how in the world do you know what to do? There's so much going on.
Yeah.
And so it was weird watching this trailer, kind of knowing what you were doing and how you were supposed to do
Yeah.
everything. And so it was kind of cool to not just be sitting back like in awe of what you're seeing, but also it's like you're watching
Kind of
someone play a
understanding
game.
it.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool just to be like, well, I can't wait to do that. Yeah. So I really liked it. But yeah, kind of like Tim for the most part, just kind of, I'm glad I watched it, but Spider-Man stood out to me.
Yeah.
Chris, what stood out to you, bruv?
I feel like I'm in a bit of a different camp than Ed, or excuse me, Tim and Ed. I mean, I didn't come away from this like with my mind blown, like, oh my gosh, there's so much, like that kind of thing. But there were several games that I was like, that looks interesting. That looks interesting. I'm interested in that. See what that's going to be. Because I mean, a trailer, like, very few of them
Yeah.
show anything that's you could maybe be actual gameplay or something that's very supposed to resemble what the actual gameplay is. So a lot of these are just conceptual, and I have no idea. But like, I'm interested in seeing what, being someone who enjoys multiplayer stuff. That first one that started off, the Fair Games thing, where it looks like 3-player co-op, like heist kind of thing.
Splatoon?
Yeah, no, not the
that one,
Splatoon
yeah.
wannabe thing. I'm not interested in that at
Yeah,
all.
sorry.
Helldivers, again, I mentioned it in the live stream, but the
That's
original Helldivers was
Yeah.
like a top-down or like a 3/4 view from my memory. So this looked different to me, and this looked more interesting to me. So, but I want to wait and see more of it as it comes through. The Phantom Blade Zero, or I guess it was Zero,
Yeah.
that looked interesting to me. Again,
It did,
It
yeah.
looks like one of those games that I might be like, once I learn more, I'm like, oh, this is way too much for me. I'm not going to be able to do this. But I thought it had a cool vibe and look to it. I think that I want to try that out. There was the one by the Journey people, Sword of the Sea, I think is what it was called.
Yeah.
I thought that looked super interesting.
That-
I don't get into super often. Do I get into the really artsy kind of style games? But I really enjoy Journey. So anytime that developer does something, I'm like, hey, I'm interested in what you're doing. You know,
Right.
Like wasn't really taken by Abzu, but I really liked Journey, and I want to check this one out. There's a handful of other ones. There's one big one in particular, but I'll talk a little bit more about it in a moment. The Marathon game, the new kind of multiplayer game
Yeah,
from Bungie.
Bungie.
I'm interested in that. Again, I don't really know what it is, but it looked cool, and I like Bungie mechanics in terms of like their FPS mechanics. So if it's going to be a first-person game, which I'm assuming it is, I think it could be fine lane area for me to get back in there. I'm likely jumping back into Destiny because I'm not going to let them fool me again. But I really enjoyed seeing something that resembles Cade 6 coming back. I don't know if it's just going to be like a dream sequence or like a multiverse, otherworldly thing. I don't know exactly.
Well, it sounded like from the way they reintroduce him, she says you've missed so much.
Yes.
And so it's like you don't know if he's been pieced back together.
I mean,
or
considering that
what
he's an
his-
exo, like he's a machine, you'd think that there might be
his-
some way they could reassemble him and
Take
put
his
the
consciousness
Yeah,
and
so
Get the backups.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what all
And I
that
mean,
is.
That seemed like such a huge, you know, when you write a script and then you make a video game, I don't know if there's ever a way to know which characters will connect with the broader audience. And so they write a script and make a video game about Cade Six dying, or going away or whatever. And I wonder if even they knew how. I wonder if they even knew how beloved Cade Six was. It's kind of like Daryl in The Walking Dead,
yeah.
where like they had planned to kill Daryl off, but they were like, oh, actually,
probably not. Yeah,
like people really love this character, and people are like, if Daryl dies, we riot. So, I think it's good on them to try to make right a wrong that they, that was pretty big fumble. I feel like when they got rid of Cade Six. Sorry for the hiccups.
Yeah. I mean,
it
like
happens.
Both Ed and Tim said, I overwhelmed with the not overwhelmed really, but like overhyped, overjoyed is a better way of putting it about the Spider-Man 2 stuff. But I was already all bought in. You show me, a poster, I'd be like, yep, I'm in.
Yep.
So this was just like icing on the
Yep.
cake kind of thing. There was,
Yep.
for sure.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
You, Gabe?
Yeah.
The things that kind of stuck out to me were a little bit more silly. The plucky squire, actually looked like kind of cutesy, and it kind of when Chris said, "Oh, that kind of looks like Tearaway," I was like, I remember loving Tearaway on the PSP, PS Vita.
Well, it was originally on the Vita, but
Chris?
then it came to PS4. They made a version of
Yeah, but originally on the Vita,
on the
when
Vita.
like you could interact with the back touchpad and everything like that. And so I think just the fact that it kind of had that vibe, and when you said that, Chris, I was like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna pay a little bit more attention to that. That's coming to all the next gen stuff plus Nintendo Switch and the PC in 2023. And then Ultros. I kind of had joked about it looking like the sequel to what I call it, Dead Cells. Dead Cells. Obviously, it's way more colorful than Dead Cells and looks very different. But just the way the character entered the screen and the fact that it's a side scrolling situation, I was like, oh man, because you have to understand, I loved Dead Cells. Love Dead Cells.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Loved it. And so, I was excited to see that. And then this is kind of one of the news things. They announced Project Q, which is Sony's handheld 8-inch screen. It looks like an 8-inch screen thrown in the middle of a DualSense controller. But and it looks like it's for remote play only over Wi-Fi. And so they said they'll launch a dedicated device that enables you to stream any game from your PS5 console using remote play over Wi-Fi. So when you say over Wi-Fi, it's hard to always know if that means same house Wi-Fi or Wi-Fi even if you're at a hotel. I would think they would start with on your same network because that's going to be the fastest. Jim Ryan was saying internally known as Project Q, it has an 8-inch HD screen and all the buttons and features of the DualSense wireless controller. More specifically, it'll have an LCD screen running games at up to 1080p.
Up to 110 FPS.
Exactly. 60 frames per second over Wi-Fi, according to the Sony press release, and will feature both adaptive triggers and the haptic feedback from the DualSense. So this is a hard one for me personally.
Does it say a price at all? I'm assuming not.
It doesn't say a price, but what would you, and it doesn't mention like cloud gaming. Like, is it going to also have cloud gaming, or is it only going to be from your PS5? Because the small print at the end says games must be installed on PS5 console and excludes VR games. So to me, it's like kind of cool tech, but like personally, I have the Steam Deck already. I use the Steam Deck for this already, so it'd be hard for me to buy something like this. Would any of you guys even kind of be in the market to want to play from the bed on remote play, Tim?
I don't think so. I kind of like just being up here in my room and just kind of experiencing the fullness of the game. I just like a bigger screen and headphones, and I did with the Wii U back in the day with Mario Kart, but that's probably the only type of game that I would do it with.
Yeah. Ed, what say you? Would this get you excited, or are you just like, I just go upstairs and play?
Exactly. Yeah, if I'm here, I'll play right here. It's comfortable. Yeah.
Chris, what about you? So who do you guys think? Okay, all four of us are saying no. Now I'm saying no because I already have something I do this with. But
right,
who do you think this is for? Is it for the one television family?
No,
I have no idea.
I will say,
especially if it's only local Wi-Fi.
If it ends up, I mean, I'm gonna not believe that it's only local Wi-Fi. But even so, if it's something that can't stream from the cloud straight to the device, like that's a huge miss. That's a huge miss, in my opinion. I still don't, even if it could do that, that's not like the make or break for me. I mean, rarely am I wanting to be in bed or sitting on the couch next to Stacey while she's doing something else and want to be gaming. Like, I'm just going to get up and come in this room.
Yeah.
So that's why it makes no sense for me personally. But if this device is strictly on the same Wi-Fi network in the same building, stream it from my PS5 to my device, and that's all it can be, I think that's a huge waste of time.
I just can't imagine there not being crazy lag. I don't know. I mean, just watching YouTube tonight, watching the presser, I'd pause and kind of like have to spin the wheel and reload, and I can't imagine if it was I could play it while I was in Florida from my PlayStation here. I can't over Wi-Fi. I can't imagine that being, I don't know, maybe a word.
I mean, I will say that when this was the thing with the Vita and the PS4, I remember being in Seattle playing Second Son on my Vita from my PS4 in Texas. And now, granted, that's not a first-person super twitchy game. Totally fine. Yeah. Had no real problems with it. Yeah, I had no problem.
Wow.
In fact, I would say most of the time that I remote played, it was a pretty decent experience. If I tried to play any like first-person game, no, that was not going to work. But if it was something third-person, something that didn't require a ton of like Twitch response kind of things, I had no real problem with it. But that was just me, and I had my PS4 back then and my PS5 now were hardwired, so I didn't have to worry that way.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I had some things to help me out there, but yeah.
I could see this being big for people who either commute and are on trains a lot, or even for college kids that don't want to lug their console to the dorm, and they can bring this with them and leave the PlayStation at home. And, that way they can game and don't have to worry about having their PlayStation stolen or whatever.
Assuming they can indeed do that, and it doesn't have to be. Yeah. Like if they don't have even that then this is like, why does this thing exist?
Yeah,
it makes no sense. I mean, there's going to be 12 people that have that use case scenario.
It's like when a light comes and you install it and it's got a remote control, or I can just flip the switch, and it's like, well, I'm not going to worry about the batteries. I'll just flip the switch when I go in. I don't worry about the remote.
I feel the same way. It's hard because, I played Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core probably 90% on remote play. I played God of War probably 30% remote play.
Which, by the way, side note, is
if not a little bit more,
like turn of the tables for you for Mr. Remote Play for like the longest time.
Oh, I'm more cloud gaming, bleh.
Yeah.
Like
but even back
being
in
on the
day,
same network
play,
is a lot faster. Absolutely, absolutely. I've poo-pooed both.
You've hiccuped both.
Yeah, exactly. I've definitely poo-pooed both of those things, but I was able to pull it off same network and stuff like that, and it felt like, okay, now, as I mentioned before, when I had to play a boss or something like that, I was like, okay, let me go get on the console. Like, it needs to be.
Oh, nice.
Right.
I need to be a little bit more twitchy. And I did try like Call of Duty, just like to jump into like a firing range. And it's like Chris said, it's like, it's not even close. Like, there's no way to be able to pull that off. But I mean, it feels like a waste of R&D to me. But if they introduce, because I hear that they're revamping PlayStation Now. So if they bring all that in,
where have you heard that?
And they're able to get the cloud gaming.
I didn't see that.
It says now this is from The Verge. I don't know the date on this, but they did update it. Now that Google Stadia is dead and buried, it looks like Sony may seriously care about cloud gaming again. Despite a recent round of layoffs, Sony is currently hiring 22 roles related to cloud gaming tech, including one person whose job will literally be to develop and deliver the strategic vision for cloud game streaming on PlayStation.
Interesting.
And so, I don't know if they're building that back up, and because PlayStation Now seemed dead in the water to me. I never signed up for PlayStation Now. I think I might have tried it if they did like some sort of trial or something like that. But I've just not been a huge cloud gaming fan. But if they get that back up and going, and then they kind of put this on this Project Q thing, then maybe there's a chance. I don't know. Chris, what else you got from this thing, Doc?
So the thing that I did not mention earlier, that anybody who watched knows exactly what I was skipping over to talk about later, is they announced the remake to Metal Gear Solid 3, now called Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater.
Why do you think it's called Delta, by the way?
I don't know. I'm sure there's some specific reason, but I have no idea. That Delta doesn't recall. I don't recall anything specific tied to the Metal Gear series of Delta. But to be fair, I haven't played Metal Gear Solid 3 in a hot minute. So even though I've played it multiple times, the last time has been, probably 6 or more years ago. So the thing that's interesting about this is it's a little bit of one of those like worst kept secrets kind of things, where this has been on the rumor mill since like 2021. But and then as time has gone by, those have gotten stronger, and more people and more places saying our sources say this is happening too, kind of thing. I feel like there's been a lot of smoke in this direction for a really long time, but it's nice to have finally some type of proof that it's actually a thing and confirmation. Now, all we got was a CG trailer. There has been not a hint of when this may come about. So, I mean, this could be another 4 years down the road. We also have no idea who's developing it. Metal Gear's official Twitter account put out a thing, said that we're working on this, and we're so excited for all of our fans, and thank you for all your support. They said that they are, quote, bringing back the original voice characters, a rich storyline, and expansive features.
Oh, wow.
So don't know exactly what that means, but they did say we're working hard for Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater to be a faithful recreation of the original story and game design, while evolving the gameplay with stunning visuals and seamless user experience. The seamless user experience part would tell me that maybe we're looking at possibly having more of like Metal Gear Solid 5 style controls, which would be nice. I mean, the Metal Gear Solid 3's controls were great back in the day. Today they're a little bit antiquated, but that would be fine. And obviously you can imagine it's probably going to have way better visuals considering everything that comes out today. The part that I'm the most excited about is hearing that they're, to their word, being as faithful to the recreation of the original story and game design, because that's the area where, as a Metal Gear fan, like I love the IP and the story and all that kinds of stuff, but I also really like when you remove Kojima from it, and I remember all the huge bad breakup and all that, doing Kojima wrong kind of thing. Yeah. So it's like, man, like if Konami were to come out and make a Metal Gear Solid 6, I feel like I would have a much harder time. Like I would struggle way more. Like, do I want to do that or not? Because, they did Kojima dirty. I don't know if I want to support this or not. But if you're just taking what he created and just prettyifying it, I feel like I'd be fine with that. I don't mind doing that. I think that I would give that a try. So I'm all in, at least at the moment, for Metal Gear Delta. And then on top of all that, right at the very end, they mentioned the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1, which is going to include Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty, and Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. Those are all in their original form, just playable on current machines. A current version for PC, my understanding, but also for Xbox and PlayStation, Xbox Series consoles, and PS5. Which the Series consoles right now, it's a little strange because this Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 are supposed to be the HD collection versions. You can actually play those if you own them right now on Xbox. They're 360 games, so they're backwards compatible. The PlayStation side, you don't have
right.
that option because they didn't come out for PS4, and their backwards compatibility only goes back to PS4 and some PS2 games and PS1 games on there as well. So this is really, even though it's coming to everything, this feels much more like a thing that Sony people are going to be super excited about, not just because the game's history on that system, but also the fact that right now, unless like if I want to play any of these games right now on a PlayStation side, I have to bust out my PS3. So that's really nice that I'm not going to have to do that. And specifically that there's Metal Gear Solid 1, because when they released the HD collection back in the day, it only had 2 and 3. So Metal Gear Solid 1 has always been a little bit, for a PlayStation person, always been a little hard to get your hands on. So I'm really super excited about this. And this one's coming in autumn.
Nice.
So I'll be picking it up like day one for sure.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
The remake is coming in autumn?
No. This collection. This master collection,
Oh, gotcha.
the one that's going to have,
Gotcha.
it's going to be Metal Gear Solid 1, but just how it exists currently, just playable on PS5 and 2 and 3. Because I've actually been toying with going back and playing 2 or 3 again here recently. I'm like, now I'm going to wait till autumn so I can play the
go.
better, or like on the system that I want to play, my current system.
Yeah. Ed pointed out in the chat, everybody gets to kind of, throw up the stuff that's been hidden away. Yuri putting up a picture of him in a Spider-Man shirt. It's black with the white logo, kind of with the symbiote. And then Xbox saying, coming to Xbox, Immortals, Ghost Runner 2, Marathon, Metal Gear Solid, Delta. They're just kind of listing all these games that
Right.
PlayStation just showed, just to be like, hey, just so y'all know, those aren't exclusives. Those are coming here too.
Yeah, we're here.
Talos Principle 2, Assassin's Creed Mirage. For my Assassin's Creed people here, Tim, you didn't mention that one. Did that look like something that you'll play, or you were like,
Sorry, I forgot to mention that. It was one of those things where I knew what where they were. I think it was in the middle. It's in the Middle East. It's I think they're going to do a little bit more throwback to how Assassin's Creed used to be. I need more. I'd like to see a little bit more. All the cinematics are always kind of the same. I think it's still going to be a day one for me, just because I love the Assassin's Creed franchise anyway. So, but
when you say going back to your roots, what do you think? What does that mean?
They're going. I feel like they're going back to like Brotherhood-ish kind of. I'm hoping that kind of style.
They kind of have the same wear of that you when you think of Assassin's Creed, the first couple of games that with the robe and the hood and stuff like that, kind of had that same look.
And more from a historical point of view, and
it says it's shaped in the golden age of Baghdad.
That's right. And it's
Basim?
Basim?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the character name?
Basim.
Yes.
Yeah, Basim, I think. So, I'm definitely excited for it. I would like to see a little bit more, but I'm hoping they don't go the way of Valhalla in that it's just so much.
Well,
and
there will be so much.
There will be, but I'd like for them to tone it down just a little bit, maybe. But yeah, I'm still excited for it. It'll be great.
I don't know if they gave us a date on that one or not. I don't remember.
I just looked at it. I think
October 12th.
October 12th, right?
October 12th. So it's hard, man, because I loved the early Assassin's Creeds too, and then after Black Flag, I kind of fell off and haven't played. I didn't play Origins. I didn't play the Odyssey. I didn't play
Odyssey.
Valhalla.
Odyssey was really, really good. I think Odyssey. I don't know if Odyssey or Valhalla, which one was bigger. I'm assuming Valhalla, just because it was the later one.
I think Valhalla.
Yeah.
But Odyssey was massive. But because I was having so much fun and I enjoyed the story, what parts of the story we had and everything, and the lore of that one because they were in Greece and all that, I had a blast with Odyssey. Valhalla, I finished it. But at one point, I was like, I am not messing with any of this extra junk. I'm just mainline story, get this thing done.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like in both camps. It's like, I'd like it to be longer if it's good. If it's not that good, shorten it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like the difference between Peter's Spider-Man and Miles Morales' Spider-Man, right? Like Miles Morales felt like it cut out almost all the fat and you could beat it in like 12 hours.
Yeah.
Where it felt like Spider-Man, you could stretch that thing out a little bit longer, and if it made Miles Morales feel more like a DLC than feel like its own game.
Did you guys play the Did you guys all play the Spider-Man DLC with the Black Cat?
I did not.
I played them.
No, I didn't either.
But I
I platinumed the original game, and then that was it.
I honestly, I didn't play them right when they came out. I played them like way down the road, and I only play. I'm kind of like you, Ed, where historically I really don't play much single player DLC. But I had bought the collector's edition. I have the little statue, and it came with those. So when they came out, I just got them. So I was like, all right. So eventually I got to it, and I did play them. Yeah.
Ed, we talked about this a little bit on the stream too. You are not probably picking up PSVR 2. You would be the most likely of the four of us to do so. They did announce that Beat Saber launched on PSVR 2 today with a new Queen music pack. So, and you had mentioned you'll probably get the Queen music pack, but won't be getting a PSVR 2. Is that correct?
Yeah, like they've released I don't know how many music packs lately, and I've gotten them all. But we barely even touched I can't remember the last time we played it, but that game is so fun. I want to have all I have when we do pick it up again, when we do have friends over again. I want to have so many choices for people to play. But I just, and especially since now the PS5 is up here, we don't game down there at all. And so, yeah, it's, it kind of turned into the Nintendo for me, where as much fun as I had with so many VR games, it pretty much just came to be about Beat Saber. And I don't want to spend so much money for a Beat Saber machine, kind of like I don't want to spend so much money for what would basically be a Mario Kart machine.
Right. Yes, that totally makes sense. So the Queen music pack comes with 11 songs, another one by Sedust, Bohemian Rhapsody, Crazy Little Thing Called Love, Don't Stop Me Now, I Want It All, Killer Queen, One Vision, Somebody to Love, Stone Cold Crazy, We Are the Champions, and We Will Rock You. And I think I know all of those songs.
I think there was only maybe two I didn't recognize.
Maybe I don't know One Vision. But the rest of them I know. So that'll be really fun. And if you own a PSVR 2 and you already owned Beat Saber, it is free for the upgrade to PSVR 2, which that's very nice. Very cool. The Queen Music Pack is out now for $14. And that sounds like something I should get because, on the Oculus, it's so easy, right? There's not all the cameras and all the thing.
That's right.
And the joysticks or whatever they're called, the Move controllers. And you can turn around. There's no wires and stuff like that. And so I might need to pick that up on the old Oculus.
Yeah.
There you go.
Christoph?
I am not, but is anybody interested in the earbuds things? I thought it was at least interesting.
No.
It's interesting, but probably not, no.
Yeah, I'm not huge on
They'll
earbuds.
probably be too expensive.
You think so?
Yeah.
Like, what's too expensive?
I think they'll be like $150.
Yeesh.
I feel like it'd be more than that.
You think?
Because they're the Sony ones, they're like
think they'll try to be up there with the Apple iPods or whatever they are. They're called. What are they called?
AirPods.
How much are AirPods? I'm just Googling it real quick.
I don't even know offhand.
$130 they start at. The AirPod Pros start at $250. Third generation from $170. Second generation $129.
I mean, I'll say this:
AirPod Maxes are $550.
Yeah, but those are over here, so that's
but I don't care. That's crazy.
That's right.
That's a lot of money.
If AirPods weren't a thing, I would absolutely be interested in them because for like phone stuff and tablets and whatnot, I love earbuds. But when it comes to if I'm at a desktop or if I'm gaming, I want over the ear. There's too much.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I agree.
So, but if AirPods didn't exist, I would absolutely look into these because Sony usually makes pretty good stuff when it comes to audio world. So.
Yeah, they do, and so that's kind of one of the things you can count on. But I don't think they gave us a price for them.
No,
Probably
not in that not in the showcase, anyways. And I haven't seen anything anywhere. I didn't even see if did they say when either the earbuds or the handheld thing are supposed to be coming, or did they just announce them and say these are actual things?
I think they just announced them, said they were things, and I would expect them in the holidays. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because we didn't even get the actual name, right? Just kind of like the working name.
Yeah, still Project Q.
Yeah.
So,
one other thing I want to say real quick, going back to the Metal Gear thing. So that Master Collection, I haven't seen anywhere for sure for that thing in particular that it's coming everywhere. I don't know. I'm going to assume that it's...
Oh, for just the collection part.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's going to come to like Xbox, because again, the HD collection was on Xbox and probably PC or something like that. I haven't seen that written anywhere, but the fact that it says Volume 1 makes it seem like possibly there could be a Volume 2. Otherwise, why would they do that? And Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots has never been on anything but PlayStation 3. That's the only thing it exists on. So maybe that will finally
Is that a good game?
Come here. I actually never played it. That was the one that was the one where I couldn't afford a PS3. I ended up watching the whole story, the whole playthrough on YouTube, and I never actually played it. I own it now because I bought the collection that they released on PS3 that has everything. I was like, well, now I've seen the story, so I'll wait a little while till it gets away from me, and then PS4 came out and we moved on, kind of thing. So,
wow. So you've never? Is it the only?
Yeah, I was going to say that's interesting. You've never played 4.
No,
is it the only one you haven't played?
No, I never played the MSX games, Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2. I actually have the cartridge of it on NES back there that Gabe gave me on that shelf over there. But I had never played those. The first one I played was Metal Gear Solid on PS1. And I only played a portion of Peace Walker. I didn't make it all the way through it. Not because I got bored or anything, kind of like just distracted and things moved on. I didn't get to stick with it, but so I haven't played those two. The MSX ones are, I mean, they're obviously canonical, but I don't know. It's like there's a whole, like you had to have those systems back in the day, and they weren't easy to play. So I don't really think that much. And I'm not going back to them. That gameplay is too antiquated for me. I'll just watch it.
Yeah.
But do you think you'll play this, whatever this thing is?
This Master
Like
Collection?
if they were to release Volume 2 and it's, I don't know how it goes, 4.
Sure.
And then what else would they bundle with it? Because 5 was the one that we just got.
Yeah, the only thing I could think is, I mean, maybe 5, but just the fact that it's backwards compatible everywhere. But maybe they'd put 5 on it, and I could see them possibly throwing in the MSX games on there. They're not going to put Survive. Nobody cares about that. They ain't gonna do that.
But you would play it again? Yeah, I mean, you would play it for a first time?
Which one?
4?
Oh, yeah. I would replay 5. That's one of the things with 5 is it because, it kind of got, the breakup happened and that was just kind of like, this is what it is. There's no way to, like, once you finish the game, the only way to start over, like, there's no New Game Plus. You have to wipe your save to start over.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
And I just never wanted to do that, so I never played it again. I mean, I would go back in and dabble because, you could replay missions and things, but you can't have that experience of starting from scratch again unless, I guess I could play it on Xbox. I could probably get it there and play it there. I didn't think about that.
There you go. Well, that's awesome. I'm glad Cade 6 is back. That was one of my favorite little reveals. Cool. Yeah, that was the only thing I was truly, like, surprised by. I was like, oh, snap.
Yeah,
that's what's up.
Well, cool.
And obviously I had seen all the rumors. About Metal Gear, so I was really hoping that was going to come true for Chris. And I'd even asked him last week, I think we were talking about it, and I was like, if Snake Eater is the one that gets remade, is that okay? And Chris was kind of saying that the first that the first one and the third ones were the better ones. Is that what you had said, Chris?
I mean,
that you really liked 3?
Yeah, 1 and 3 are probably my 2 favorites in the series. Although 5 is really good too, at least from a gameplay standpoint. Story wise, it's a little janky. But yeah, 1 and 3 are kind of considered by a lot of people to be 2 of the best in the series. 2's underrated. Like when it came out, it was so divisive, but then it's like one of those ones that, as you look back and through history, it's like gotten better. Especially because of all the kind of, in a way, kind of predicting of way things were going to go in the future. It kind of like came to pass kind of things. So 1, 2, and 3 are all solid games, in my opinion.
Nice. They did say, and even though you can hear it, but they did say Nathan Fillion is back, or Fillion. Fillion or Fillion?
I think it's
back playing
Fillion.
Fillion.
I think I always said Fillion, but I don't know why.
Yeah, Fillion.
Nathan Fillion
is back playing Cade 6 for sure.
That's
and so Twitter's like, he's back, and they're very excited.
I wonder if that means for sure that he is going to be just like a Force Ghost or something, because that man's got a busy schedule, I'm assuming. I think that was a part of the reasoning why the first time, I mean, I don't think it was the only reason, but part of the thing too is why they switched over to having the guy who did voices Nathan Drake doing his voice, because like we can't keep Nathan, like he's got too much stuff
Nolan
going
did
on.
Cade 6
Yeah, he did Cade 6.
Yeah.
He moved over to doing Cade 6 for.
and the Ghost.
I believe so.
Remember, he took over the Ghost
Yeah,
too.
I believe in the one where Cade get croaks. I think that he did his in that one, and maybe the one before. I don't remember
Jeez,
for sure, but I'm pretty sure he
Sheesh.
was Nathan. He did it.
I didn't realize that. That's crazy.
hope I'm
Now
not-
Nolan, say
I'll
something
be
for the
oops
rest
if
of
I'm
us.
wrong, but I'm almost certain that's how it went.
That's awesome. I love that.